Today, the story I'm going to start with is as follows. You have clavicular, you have Michael B. Jordan, right? Two characters that come along often in my videos. You see, clavicular, from the get-go, right? If you know his story went a bit like this, right? He got into this whole, gym. He got into the gym, right? And in getting into the gym, what did he do? You see, he didn't maximize his natural potential, right? Why? Because he was constantly bombarded with these super elite physiques, like David Lade, or I don't know who else was there at the time. He's younger than me, ironically, right? But you see, I would assume he followed Sam Sulek, he followed, Alex Eubank, all those, good-looking, nice, really, really nice physiques all across the internet, right? So naturally, he decided to start steroids at like 15. Does that seem like the, normal thing to do? No, not at all. No. And that is why now he's infertile, right? Now that is why, yeah, fine, whatever, he's achieved a great physique, right? He's achieved an awesome physique. But then he had to cycle off. Why? Because your balls don't work, that's why. Do you understand? Like, it's so funny to me. You are so obsessed with, yeah, bro, I'm gonna lift, I'm gonna do all that, I'm gonna inject as much as I can, just so I can turn my mid physique into a completely naturally attainable physique. I just have to wait a bit longer, right? Fine, I may probably not make a name for myself, but I mean, is that like enough to sacrifice, my health? Making a name for myself, some money? You're gonna die. You're not gonna be able to pass on your genes. What? Is that normal? I don't know, guys. To me, it doesn't sound so normal. I'm a very natural kind of guy. You may say, oh, I can see that, you're not so big. Fuck you, okay? At least I work out. Anyway, then you got Michael B. Jordan, right? I don't know his story, but I would assume it goes a bit like this, right? He notices something in the mirror he doesn't really like. He says, yeah, let's change that. Okay, fine. Then he busts his ass to actually achieve to where he is now. Granted, he's a Hollywood actor. Granted, he probably has taken steroids before in order to achieve a certain physique. But you see, the difference between clavicular and Michael B. Jordan, right, is that one took steroids at the very start of his, journey to self-improvement, looking better. The other kind of worked his way up. And then once he became famous, right? Once he became famous and got certain acting roles, he got into, using steroids. Which I don't condone, but, if it's for a movie, it's a movie, brother. Like, they're paying you so much. You better look the fucking part, So, obviously, I'm not condoning steroid use. No, of course not. Although, you see, when it comes to, let's say, I don't know, looking better for literally a movie role, I mean, aren't you gonna take the extra steps to be super lean for that role? Yeah, dude, of course. Like, are you kidding? Is that like a joke? You have these guys that are doing literally like IFBB pros, right? No one looks at them and says, oh no, but I mean, what are you doing that for? It's obvious, dude. It's for their career. This is his career, Looking good on camera is his career. They look good on stage. He looks good on camera. What does clavicular do? He looks good also on camera But now he doesn't look good anymore. He just has a pretty face. You see? So he didn't even bother, clavicular, that is, didn't even bother attempting, right? Even scraping the surface of, you know, maximizing his natural potential. And that goes for absolutely everything about him. You know, he's super insecure, as you can tell. You see, what does he do? He's got multiple surgeries, multiple, you know, cases of Botox. Now, I've seen recently that he even got a nose job. His nose was fine. His nose was perfectly fine. You know, me dealing with my nose, right? Now you may say, oh, I mean, he doesn't have such a bad nose. Yeah, thank you. I was bullied for it like nearly all my life. I came to peace with it. I mean, I like my nose. My cope, in a way, is that if you try to punch me in the face, your hand will probably hurt and my nose will be completely fine because I have a pretty strong nose. You know, that's my cope. Do what you want with it. But like, I'm not gonna go out here and get a fucking nose job. Okay? Nothing wrong with nose jobs, but like, if it's for a medical, you know, situation, I forgot the word. Unless it's for something completely medical, I don't really think you should be getting nose jobs. I mean, unless you are completely like bottom of the bucket, absolutely, you know, dumpster fire, you probably just need to diet down and, you know, use what you have naturally. I mean, you don't need to go get facial reconstructive surgery, you know? Same thing, again, like for your jaw. All you really need is good tongue placement and, you know, maybe braces. Otherwise, you can put upwards pressure on the palate of your mouth, and that will, you know, over time open up your growth plate, I think. I don't really know the super science, but eventually at some point your teeth will start to straighten out because, I mean, by you putting upwards pressure and outwards pressure, you're essentially you're basically mimicking what braces do in a way. Obviously, I'm not a dentist. Don't start hammering me in the comments saying, oh, what the fuck does he know? I don't know anything, for all, you know, and as for your concern. But, you know, anyway, getting back to the title of this video, which is, you need to stop, you know, blaming your genetics and actually using your, how do you call it, natural potential, right? You know, you have to stop blaming your genetics for how you look and discipline yourself and your poor lifestyle, and that is why you look that way, right? As you can see in the thumbnail, on the right, on the left, you have me 2 years ago, right? When I had exams. No, oh God, 3 years ago, when I had exams. And when I had exams, I had a, you know, at the time I had a bad compulsive kind of, you know, habit where it was one of two, right? It's either I eat myself, like not to death, but I eat more out of just pure pleasure. Not bad stuff, just big quantities because I like to eat, right? And, you know, it was all creamy and, you know, great. Or I completely starve myself. Both approaches suck. Both approaches are horrible. If anything, they drive your cortisol up. But anyway, at the time I had no clue what, you know, cortisol management really was. But anyway, let's not get too ahead or off pace. You see, now I have a routine in place. I have a diet in place. Do I track my calories? Yes. Do I do it religiously? Yes. I eat the same stuff every day. I wake up, 4 eggs, smoothie, bowl of fruits. Awesome. I'm good until 2 p.m. At 2 p.m., rice, beef, veggies. Cool. Awesome. Okay? Workout. After the workout, yogurt. Protein pudding. Awesome. Now you can look like this. Hi, I'm Lorenzo. I'm 21. I bust my ass off to look this way. What do you do? And I don't take steroids. Your poor lifestyle choices absolutely dictate how you look. So you should completely stop. Stop it. It's a bad habit. It really is. Stop trying to compare yourself, first of all. And second of all, stop fucking, coping and saying, oh no, man, but I'm just fat naturally, man. I'm big boned. Unless you have a deemed medical condition where it says that you cannot lose weight, or you have insulin sensitivity, which you can completely, by the way, undo through fasting. But you see, all these things, it's all just one big cope, all one big cope. And I say this why? Because I was in there. I was there. Hi, I'm me. I'm the viewer. Right? I'm the viewer. So I know where you're coming from. All you need is a fucking routine and stick to it. Do you understand? You just have to go to sleep early. Wake up early. Right? Wake up early. Do the work in the morning so you get it out the way. And then just stick to a diet. You don't even have to do a super diet where you just eat canned tuna the whole day. You're not a cat, are you? You can eat regular food. Just don't overdo it on the sugar and the fats and the fast food and fucking everything. These 3 things, take them, shove it up your ass, shit it back out, flush it, never look at it again. That is the thing that's keeping you back. Your discipline, right? In terms of your eating habits, your workout habits, all of that, right? Is completely what is holding you back. And I say this as being someone who didn't really enjoy working out at the start. I started loving it because I started seeing results. In order for you to see results, you have to actually put in the work. If you're not putting in the work, if you're putting half the fucking work, obviously half the fucking work is gonna come out, and at a much slower pace. I promise you, if you start dialing in on your diet, your routine, your workout, these 3 things just these 3 can completely change how you look. Completely. Whether you're skinny, fat, ugly, beautiful, completely change. Why? Because the same way, right? The same way I today have this routine where I wake up early, I go to work, I come back, I eat the correct amount. The same way I have all this routine, right? The same way I can walk into a bar, get a big fucking pint, and do that year round and watch how fast my physique changes. I promise you, it is not a genetic thing. I promise you. Fine, you may have genetic outliers where they are a lot more responsive to workouts and, generally more set up to grow muscle faster. That's fine. That is completely fine. I knew a guy who was, 5 foot nothing, but he was a fucking fridge. He was a tank, right? Granted, you may say, oh, dude, but if we're really getting into genetics here, right? Since many people, like to overlook this. You see, Black people are very gifted, right? Black people are so gifted. Genetically, right? Genetically, for what I've seen in my personal experience, so many Black people, right, have amazing physiques. Why is that? Because from a very young age, they've always been active, right? But even genetically, they are predisposed to being great runners, great lifters. They have so much strength, natural raw strength, right? They're more predisposed to doing work, right? And if you look at the history, they really were. Look at the top athletes, right? Top athletes. You have Usain Bolt, You have all these marathon runners, right? From I don't know where in Africa, to be completely honest, but they are all great athletes. Why? I can't tell you why, but genetically, they are obviously a lot more gifted, right? Than your just average white guy. But this is not to get about like race or whatever. This is to just point out to you that anyone can do it. You just have to face extra steps. It doesn't mean that, oh, God hates you, or, oh, my genetics are inferior. No, they aren't, actually. You can get to the same place, you just have to work hard enough. Right? I promise you, it's not that they were just born that way. Obviously, they also had to train just as hard, if not harder, since that is kind of their career and job and life, right? You see my point? You're just not chasing it hard enough, brother. All you're doing is sitting there and complaining. What are they doing in the meanwhile? All these athletes, top athletes. They're working. They're spinning laps around you. And I think that is the most concerning part, you know? That you're just sitting there and taking it and just accepting that, I don't really, I'm not so gifted. Yeah, I'll just stay the way I am. It's not about being gifted or not. It's about how you apply yourself, right? Even if it comes to looks, same thing. Oh, but I have cystic acne. Okay, bro, do something about it. I promise you. There's like a bunch of different remedies, natural or not. I would recommend you go for the natural before starting anything medical. But I mean, it all comes down to, you see, again, as I've said so many times before, routine, diet, training. These three things. Drill it into your head, bro. Drill it. It's gotta stay there. Because otherwise, you are not going to succeed ever. In anything ever. Alright? So instead of like mentally masturbating now, right? Because you're like, oh yeah, but I can do it. Make a plan. Right? Instead of just jerking yourself off in your head and saying like, yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna be so productive, blah, blah, blah. What's productive? Thinking about being productive? No. You make a plan. That's what's being productive. You're proactive, if anything. Because all you're doing, right, is creating a framework, a blueprint of, okay, I am going to hit A, B, and C for the next 3 months consistently. And if I do not, I whip myself. No, I'm kidding. I have to do a forfeit. What's the forfeit? I don't know. 100 push-ups. Something productive. You know? For example, if you're trying to not masturbate, right? And every time you do fail, you're just like, it's okay, I'll try again tomorrow. No, I want you to try a forfeit. Every time you masturbate, but that's the thing. You have to be strongly willpowered and, disciplined enough, which clearly you're not if you continue failing. But that's the thing, you continue building on your discipline. But anyway, as I was saying, every time you masturbate and, splurge everywhere, you have to do 10 burpees. I fucking hate burpees. I don't know about you. I despise burpees, but I do 10 every morning just to get my blood circulating and get the engine running so that, my brain fog is not completely kicking me in the head. Right? Stick to the routine, bro. That's all I gotta tell you.